Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. Oh, my.
Well, Luca Nation, we're recording this live for you guys at 6:30, 7:30 Eastern. You know, we want to give you a behind the scenes, straight from Cage's mouth, right into you guys' ears.
We'll do an NFL recap.
NFL recap. It's awesome, man. It's nice that NFL's back. I have a few takeaways, but this is your world, Cage. And Luca Nation, just a customary 30-second. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. We appreciate connecting, collaborating, engaging with you guys. And we're going to keep adding these segments, you know, whether they're short form or long form. We're going to keep adding segments that we think bring you value. With that said, Cage, you know, there's a ton of games today. Which game stuck out to you, or which player stuck out to you? Where do you want to kick us off from? And then we'll navigate from there.
A bunch of them, right? So there's a bunch of games that stick out. And, you know, we're talking as, you know, I think you call it garbage time, but Brady just got another touchdown. I mean, Brady just didn't look that good. I know it's just one game, and it's against the Saints, and they're very, very good. And it's in New Orleans, although I don't know how much of a home field advantage there is. But Brady just, I mean, there were some throws here where, you know, on the first down, he came out and he threw the ball out into the left flat, and it went like 5 yards over his coach's heads. Then there was a pick six, which really, I mean, it was just horrible. It looked one receiver the whole way, and I think it was Janoris Jenkins picked him off for a pick six. It just kind of completely changed the whole game. You know, I think it was 17-7 at the time, right? And it would have been like, you know, if Tampa Bay went down the field, it would have been 17-14. You know, it would have been a much closer game. Instead, it's 24-7. It just, you know, it changes the whole complexion of the game. He just didn't look that good.
We have an amazing cadence, because that was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you. How much do you think home field advantage plays into this with no fans?
Well, so who had fans? I think the Jaguars game had fans. I think the Chiefs game had fans on Thursday, some fans. But, you know, it's in the Bucs Saints game, it was less that and more, you know, I heard a story leading into the game that even yesterday, Arians and Brady were going over like different game situations, like 2-minute drill, this and that. If we have this much time, what do we do? Blah, blah, blah. And I can guarantee you that Drew Brees and Sean Payton were not going through that, because they obviously have done it for a very long time together. And I think that probably played a bigger role, you know, in Brady getting off to a slower start than obviously Brees, you know, winning the game. I think, you know, it's going to take a little while for them to get used to it. I mean, and then the flip side to the equation was, you know.
What's the logic for them going for 2 here?
There is no logic. I don't get it at all. I mean, it would bring it to 9. I don't know what that would have done. I guess you have nothing to lose, right? Because at 11, it's still 2 scores. It's still a field goal and a touchdown with a 2-point conversion. So I guess, yeah, I really have nothing to lose by the 2. But it doesn't really matter. They're going to not get the onside kick and everything's going to be fine. But I'm trying to think what the hell else. Yeah, no, so what I was saying was, you know, like drawing a comparison. Meanwhile, that 2-point conversion, what did he throw it 11 feet over the receiver's head? He just doesn't look right. So, and yeah, Cam Newton, different style of play, right? I mean, he relied on his legs, right? I mean, you know, you had some real great rushing quarterback performances today. Kyler Murray had almost 100 yards rushing. I think he might have had 100 and then some kneel downs or whatever, but you know, he had a great game. Josh Allen had a great game rushing, you know, the ball. Cam Newton had 75 and 2 touchdowns rushing. So,
Can I tell you who impressed me?
Who?
And you've talked about this guy.
Yeah.
Dude, think about it. Think about everyone who has all these weapons. And then you have Gardner Minshew. You know, they took away, and I want to ask you this about Fournette in a second. They took away what seemed to be his best weapons. And the guy just came out there and beat the Colts, which are a very good team with Phillip Rivers, who we think they're going to win that division. That's pretty impressive, Cage.
So you know, you asked me what kind of stood out the most, and that didn't stand out to me because, you know, I have been picking him. I mean, back in August, we had DJ Chark. Chark was one of our picks, right? You know, we told people to go out there and buy him. You know, he didn't have a lot of catches, but he had a touchdown from him today. And, you know, Minshew, you know what he did? And we talked about this on our NFL preview episode, right? And I said how efficient he was and how it was surprising that not only did he have the rushing yards, but he also had 21 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions, which as a rookie who there were no schemes created for him, and the coaches didn't set up offenses around him because he wasn't supposed to be the starter last year. That's the most impressive thing, because what it shows you is he'll take what a defense will give him, right? And he's not a crazy gunslinger looking for. I can't believe this that they're doing. By the way, we're watching this, but I can't believe the Saints are rubbing it in this bad. They just did a trick play. They flea flicker. They threw it out a screen to Taysom Hill, and he threw the ball back to Kamara downfield. I mean, come on. Does Tom Brady need another reason to put something up on the bulletin board?
This is still a game. I was so confused by them going for 2. That was still a game when I was watching. I don't know why you don't just kick the extra point. And it's a 2-score
they're
game.
They're already at the 50, and it's because it's a 2-score game now anyway. It's 11. It's it's a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal. So the game is basically just the clock being over. But
you know what you're striking me as? You since mid-August, you've called play-by-play what's going to happen early in the NFL season. And to me, you're a coach right now that's, your Sunday's done. You've predicted, you've done the homework, you've come out with a win. I would say 85 to 90% of your picks, and we'll get to the running back from the Colts, have been spot on. And you've done your research, and now it's time for Big Cage to rest with his diet soda, turn on some Sunday Night Football, and put himself in a food coma before he gets back to work tomorrow.
Listen, I already had my dinner, but Dak Prescott's on later, and that was one of my picks. He's playing against the Rams. But look, I love today, but I also, I mixed in a little wiffle ball, a little basketball, half tons of stuff. So,
Baba Ganoush is tired. Baba Ganoush is really tired.
I think the last time I checked, I had like 17,000 steps today. So, I'm doing okay for myself, right? So, we went for a couple walks. But yeah, so but
Luca Nation, when I post this, hashtag 17,000 steps in the comments, and I'm gonna pick a few of you to do a giveaway. Hashtag
Nice.
17,000 steps from Big Baba Ganoush. He's tired.
It's so what's funny about it is, right? There were definitely some surprises. The Colts, we picked Taylor, and I think Taylor, their rookie running back is probably going to get more into the offense, but the kid Hines came out there and had 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 running. If you're in a PPR league, I'm sure no one drafted him, but he had 8 or 9 catches today, including 1 for a touchdown. That kind of came out of nowhere, which is, it's pretty nice. But look, as good a game as the running backs by committee had there, with Taylor having a good game, and, they have Mack who got injured, I'm pretty sure the Jaguars defense, and they've lost some players too, but I'm pretty sure the Jaguars defense held the Colts under 100 yards rushing, which – nobody would bet on that coming into the game. Yeah. So, look, I don't think this means the Jaguars are making the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win more than a handful of games still. But today, 19 out of 20, but for less than 200 yards, which means, like I said, taking what the defense is giving you, being efficient. But 19 out of 20 is an impressive stat line. Not many NFL quarterbacks have ever had a 19 out of 20 game, and that's what Minshew threw up there today with 3 touchdowns.
Let me ask you 2 questions real quick.
Yeah. Yep.
What did you think about Cam Newton's outfit?
Well, listen, I didn't mind it. He celebrated his touchdown with the Wakanda salute and all that stuff as well, which we all saw that, which was pretty cool. But listen, Cam Newton, he's always done that. He's always been he's always been somebody who likes the spotlight, and good for him, right? Come on, how many times in the NFL has it ever happened where a team gets rid of their MVP quarterback and replaces him with another MVP quarterback? It doesn't happen, right? And that's what happened today, right? That's what happened today, and it was a pretty impressive thing.
I think he's hanging on by a thread physically. That guy puts his body at waste over and over and over again.
Oh, you're right. I wouldn't bet on him playing 3 or 4 more years at top condition, but he looked good. And remember, he was out a lot last year, and they're saying he basically felt as good as he's felt in a long time, and he did. He looked real. You know what he gives you? He gives you, if it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you basically know you're getting it.
I agree.
So that's that's just that adds a dynamic to the game. I'm trying to think what else
about NFL is how hard they hit. It's crazy. Like when you watch college and then you watch NFL, and this kind of my question is for you. My second one, it's crazy how hard they tackle. These are big guys. And let me ask you, why are
just
guys
a quick little garbage time thing, so everybody knows for fantasy and for cards and stuff, because I know this guy we talk about. Michael Thomas just had the back of his leg rolled up on. He's kind of limping around
No.
on the sideline. Yeah,
I hate garbage time injuries suck.
and he did not have, with as good as they played today. Remember, the Saints were up the whole time. He only had 5 targets, 3 catches for 17 yards today. With the outburst they have here, and it's 34-23, and it looks like Taysom Hill's taking a shotgun from 3rd and goal here. With all, he's going to run it. Yeah, there he goes. He's going to run, and they tackle him at the 2. What are they going to do? I bet you Sean Payton goes for it and lets Taysom Hill run it again.
You laugh, but you remind me you'd be like a Sean Payton type of coach.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, you're laughing, but that would be you. You have that vibe to you. You're an aggressive play caller.
Why not? I think that's the way to go. I think if you have the best team, you might as well leave it in the hands of your playmakers instead of giving it over to the other team and let their playmakers, make the plays. But yeah, I mean, there were some great performances today that are kind of gonna be missed, gonna be lost in the shuffle. I mean, Marquise Brown of the Ravens, in a game where they were not throwing a lot because they won 38-6, still put up a really nice game, over 100 yards. The Browns just look bad, but everybody's going to look bad against the Ravens this year. It's just, it's one of those things. I think if I were a betting man, I probably would bet the Browns next week just because they were not as bad as they looked. And 31-35 for 322 and 4 touchdowns is Russell Wilson. I mean, that is just, the guy he's otherworldly.
I've said it time and time again. I think Russ is the best quarterback in the league. I think he's super underappreciated. Let me ask you. So there's 2 guys, DK Metcalf, Leonard Fournette. One guy was slept on in college, crushing it in the NFL. The other guy dominated college, completely bust in the NFL. Why is that over and over and over again happen? Why are guys that are dominant in the NFL oftentimes bust, dominant in college, bust when they get to the NFL? And under the radar guys like DK Metcalf come in and just freaking start crushing them.
A lot of it has to do with the system. And remember, DK Metcalf, he didn't go to the biggest school, and he was highly sought after at the combine. I mean, he's one of these freaks who just, he's a weight room guy. And, a lot of that also has to do with where you go in the draft and what situation you find yourself in. There's not many better situations in the NFL than to find yourself drafted by and playing for the Seattle Seahawks, which, that's where DK Metcalf found himself. And Russell Wilson throws a real good ball. Needed a deep threat, hasn't had a big guy like that to catch the fades and whatnot. Whereas, Leonard Fournette, who we are talking about, he's a player who ends up in Jacksonville, and they have not been good ever. I think 1995, was the last time they were real. I mean, look, they've had some successful seasons, but not with him. And
system and where you find yourself is what you attribute a lot.
It's a lot of the situation, right? It really is. I mean, there are some very good players who ended up in bad situations because of where they were drafted, and they just never had anything. I mean, look, who I feel for today? That's not a touchdown. They better call that back. That last play with Kamara, he touches out of bounds before that ball crosses any of the goal line. What do you think? What do you think, buddy?
This game is over. This game is over.
But still, that pisses me off. I don't want touchdowns that shouldn't count. Yeah, Ian says not a touchdown. So good. We'll see if they call it back, buddy. So here's a fun one for you. You ready? So there's a big push towards vintage in our hobby. Let's just say there are influencers who are out there talking about vintage sports cards, vintage football. I saw a cool article out there, 137.com. Go buy vintage, and here are the cards to buy. Vintage quarterbacks are where a lot of the money is going. Somebody like John Elway, who's still relevant to the game, right, as a GM and the whole deal, right? So, coming into today, John Elway was number 9 all time in the NFL in passing. And he's thought of as a legend, right? He won some Super Bowls. He brought honor to the to the Denver area, right? I mean, he was the best quarterback they had until they poached Peyton Manning. But if I were to tell you that with today's 450-yard performance that he had, you ready for this? The new number 9 in passing yards in the history of the NFL is Matt Ryan. Does that surprise you a little bit?
Well,
it's one of these telltale things, right? That doesn't mean that you should go out and buy all the Matt Ryan cards in the world because Matt Ryan now is better than John Elway, right? So, I guess it's one of those things like, think about it over time. Think about what these quarterbacks are. Think about what your strategy is about, buying vintage versus buying, modern versus, who's out, who's playing, you name it. There are guys who are really good players now, right? Like Matt Ryan, right? He's gonna go down as a top 10, passing quarterback. But between me, you, and anybody else who wants to listen, there, partner, I do not see. Oh, they called it back. They didn't give him a touchdown. I do not see Matt Ryan cards 20, 30, 40 years from now being a highly sought after collectible item. It's just me.
I think, and I've always been this way, and I think American sports, they trend towards we love stats. We love stats. We love stats. We love to measure performance. And actually, if you come from European sports like soccer, you don't measure statistics. Like, they didn't even start measuring stats in soccer until relatively recently. Why I say that, and I've said this before on the podcast, I'm someone who likes to watch the game. I think eye test is underrated in today's world. So, like, there's a lot of guys that are going to be towards the top in stats, but I think it's way more important to the likability of a player and the actual brand of the player. Like, I would look more at jersey sales and likability than I would at stats when I'm investing.
This is gonna sound like an odd point to make, but when I was doing episode 55, when I was doing the NFL preview, I was going to mention if I were playing fantasy, Kareem Hunt would be a nice running back play. Everybody remembers him, killing it in Kansas City, and now he's coming to the Browns offense. And I saw him have a couple of nice plays today, but I did not pick him for hobby relevance because of his history, right? And, people are not going out and buying Kareem Hunt jerseys. There's difference between stats and likability. And I think that's the point you're trying to make, right? So
totally.
Man, I like it. Well, listen, we got to give some credit to some of our folks out there. The Wharf, if you listen to his episodes, one of our most listened to episodes, if not the most listened to episode, he said, Aaron Rodgers was the play, right? He said, go, don't go away from Aaron Rodgers when he's being overlooked, when he's being disrespected. The last couple times that's happened, he said Aaron Rodgers wins an MVP on those seasons. So Rodgers had a great game today. And you know what's funny? The Rodgers play, I believe it was going into halftime. And I forget if it was 14-7 or if it was like 17-10. I forget exactly what the score was, but it was a very close game. And it ended up being, the score looked closer than it is because it was a garbage time touchdown from Minnesota. But, he always seems to find a way to do this in the last 2 minutes. He'll, take a shot downfield, and he wound up throwing a touchdown pass, right before halftime, that just completely made it like a 21-7 game instead of what should have been a one-score game.
Yes, he does.
A two-score game. And it's just, he has the ability to do that. It's just the weirdest thing, like Hail Mary passes. They just, and after a while, you seem to think hey, he's just lucky. No, he obviously creates that luck for himself. So that's one. Number two, the fountain of youth. Adrian Peterson had 93 yards rushing today for Detroit Lions. I mean, that's a guy who, if you want to do vintage, you want to start buying some, all-pro stuff, a guy who's a surefire Hall of Fame, that's a guy who gets no hobby love. And he's basically ageless. I mean, that's an amazing guy, right?
Really cool card. Really cool card. 2007, 2008 Topps Chrome. It was a very cool card. I actually have a few. LaDainian Tomlinson from that year. I love LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, and look, but Adrian Peterson's still doing it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's Adrian Peterson's rookie year. Yep. And it's a really nice card.
Not many running backs who have done that, and he'll go down as an all-time great. So that was a crazy performance that kind of came out of nowhere for me today. The Colts game was a surprise. That was a pretty big upset. And that kid Hines, I mean, he was running the ball pretty hard. Mack got hurt today. He was carried off on a stretcher. So it's going to be interesting to see that. A couple surprises. The Washington team coming back from 17 points down. I think at one point the Amazon AWS StatCaster thing said that they had a 2% chance to win the game, and then they came back and just completely dominated the Eagles after that. Sorry, I know you're a Philly guy. So that was a surprise. The Raiders defense, which obviously has some holes.
You're not even going to let me get a rebuttal in?
The Eagles? Go ahead.
Well, let's. I think there's a lesson here. I think a big lesson in life I want to teach people is loyalty and honor. And we've done this twice as Eagles fans. We've chased Andy Reid out, and then we chased Nick Foles out after he won us a Super Bowl. and we've turned the keys over to Carson Wentz, a guy who's never won. I have nothing against Carson Wentz, but the dude's never won. Earn your keep. Earn your spot. Nicky Foles, Big Dick Nicky Foles came in and won a championship, and then the next year, out. And we put it back into Carson Wentz's hands, and then we've seen what's happened. So honor and loyalty is important.
Carson had a great game today. Carson
Everyone
had an
says
amazing
that.
game today. You know who? I'm talking about Chris Carson, though, for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh.
He had a bunch of touchdowns, and he was awesome. No, Carson Wentz is never going to win anything for you guys. I'm sorry.
No, because a quarterback is more than stats. It's about vibe. It's about culture. It's leadership. It's what's the tone.
It's, do you unite people or do you divide the team? Like, people forget in football you have 80 guys on the roster of different parts of the season. The quarterback is the CEO. He's the president in a lot of ways. He has to unify people. And that's why leadership is so important in this game. And I don't think Carson has it. I don't think he's proven he has it.
I'm with you. I mean, so some other surprises. It was impressive to see Buffalo jump out to a 21-0 lead on the Jets. How bad Sam Darnold looked, how good Josh Allen looked if he can figure out a way to not fumble the football. But I guess when you're a running quarterback like that, you know, those are the kind of things that are going to happen. But he's got to hang on to the ball. The Raiders defense holding McCaffrey, and McCaffrey had a great game, he always does, but holding him to under 100 yards rushing and then actually sneaking out a win. But Derek Carr threw some really nice balls. I know that was a pick you had this week. He threw a pass to Nelson Aguilar, another guy you guys got rid of, but he couldn't catch for Philly. But he seemed to catch the ball today for
Brick hands.
You know, Ruggs was a little nervous. It gave me a little nervous today. But he came back in after his knee injury, and it was nice to see the Raiders actually play a complete game today and hang on. They had a nice drive at the end. The Carolina had fourth quarter. Scored a touchdown to go ahead, and the Raiders went down the field. I mean, Jacobs is clearly the real deal. The kid had 3 touchdowns today, and he just, he looks like a real deal.
Okay.
I hope he can stay healthy and the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think what else. Mitch Trubisky. I mean, I don't like him. I think he might not win another game all year. I'm watching now the rundown, and it was 15-7 Green Bay, and Valdez Scandrick, number 83, was who caught that touchdown from Rodgers going down the right sideline, and just changed it. It became like a 22-7 game instead of what was a 1-score game. It's just it's funny how Rodgers finds a way to do that. But yeah, Trubisky hanging on there at the end, and the Bears sneaking out a win. There's a lot of fun stuff to watch today.
Let's do a 2-minute warning. 2 minutes on the clock. Give us 3 cards that are going to be trending up, or 3 players that are trending up, and 3 players trending down. Sorry to put you on the spot, Big Cage.
Yes. So, no, I mean, I like it. Listen, I'm going to stick with quarterbacks, right? Because that's the cards that are going to be the most relevant. Obviously, everybody loves the folks. And, I gave our Luca Nation during the games today, our running back from the Colts, right, Hines. And obviously some people went out there and bought the cards. And, Jacobs cards for running back should also trend up. So it's nice to see those running backs. But quarterback-wise, right, if I'm watching the games, Haskins looked like the real deal on that comeback, right? So I'd be looking at Haskins' cards because they have not shown that meteoric rise. Josh Allen's cards, I mean, I was amazed. His Prism rookie from 2018. I saw one sell yesterday for $380. I saw one sell during the game for $580. I mean, it's just an amazing, which, by the way, is a cool thing, right? Because it's like fantasy football, right? The guy has a good game and boom, now next week he's going to be worth more. Or he's going to go higher in the draft. So, yeah, Josh Allen, I expect the price on him to go up this week. Russell Wilson was already trending up. Cam Newton, anybody who invested in him, his card should probably show a little pop this week. Kirk Cousins going to head down if anybody was buying him. Baker Mayfield, I like Baker Mayfield. I would – it's a funny little let's give a tip, right? If I were trying to look for a card that I could sell later in the season, this week might be a very good week to buy Baker Mayfield because he's not gonna see a defense like that, again until he plays them again. He just happened to come out week 1 with no preseason, no nothing, and play against the Ravens. And their offense is ridiculous, their defense is ridiculous, and I think you're only gonna have uphill from Baker Mayfield. And as good as Minshew was last year, his cards were not really, anywhere near the other quarterbacks. They weren't near Daniel Jones' cards. They weren't near Kyler Murray cards. And, I would expect his cards to have a significant pop, a significant increase. also because I mean that first of all it's an upset win over a very good team, and it was such an efficient performance. And he's got all those things you look for, that flair and that kind of stuff. So there's a bunch that are going up, and there's a bunch that come down.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Position players, right? So who stuck out at me? Paris Campbell had a great game for the Colts. If you want to look for a couple of his cards, he had a very good game. We talked about the kid also from the Colts, Hines, who was the running back.
Are you calling timeouts on this 2-minute warning?
No, should I stop it? Are we? Are I'm
No,
still going?
no. I'm
way
just saying
over?
it might be over 2 minutes. I don't know.
Well, there you go. But listen, I gave more than 3 and 3, so we try
That's
to
true.
squeeze as much information as we can out there for for our listeners. If you happen to be invested in Mitch Trubisky, I would probably try to sell him this week.
Yes, sir.
That might be the only time he wins all year. But yeah, there's the deal. Same thing. Maybe if you're heavily invested in Matt Ryan, might be a time to move him because I mean Seattle throttled him, but he's going to get some headlines as passing Elway.
Yep. My prediction for the Super Bowl, because you guys know I'm not a big gambler, I will probably only be buying 2 NFL players this year, and that's Patty Mahomes and Russell Wilson. And I think they're going to meet in the Super Bowl this year. I think they're the 2 best teams. And guys, we've been talking about partnerships for a long time, right? And we are really excited to bring you a partnership with Gem Mint Photography. So as you're getting all of these raw cards in, you're going to need 3 things. You're going to need a studio to take pictures. You're going to need a magnifying glass to inspect the pictures, and a tripod to keep your hands steady and take good quality photos. And before we bring you any product, Cage, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to be testing it. We're going to see if what we're telling you to buy is really worth it. So we were able to test it. We had the studio. Cage took a picture of his red cheeks Pikachu, and he was like, wow, this really works. Look at the quality of the photo. No glare, no nothing. So
Huge difference.
What you have to do is you go to gemmintphotography.com. Once again, that's gemmintphotography.com. You could DM us, and I'll send you the website, and we'll also do a post on it. And you could order the tripod, the studio, and the magnifying glass for a little bit over $60. And you have a coupon for Luca Nation 10 to get you 10% off.
Again,
so
Luca Nation 10, right? So you put it in
Luca
Luca
Nation
Nation 10.
Yes, sir. Tested, approved by Cage, the stamp of approval. And we want to know if you guys end up buying, how do you like it? Let us know, because we want to bring you future products that will actually add value and make you money. And I think it's something that, a few good sales, a few good photos will pay for this thing in and of itself.
Easily. We've had people ask about it too, right? So, I mean, this is one of those, if you're going to be buying raw, it huge help for multiple reasons. Number one, the whole setup. And number two, more importantly, if you're going to be selling your cards, after you get some of these wins, after you get your cards, whether they're PSA graded or not, I mean, I will tell you, before testing this, before using it on my pictures, I was just taking pictures on my iPhone, and every slab card, every PSA card that I was trying to sell, you'd see my phone. And I get people emailing me on off of eBay saying, is that a dark spot on the card? And I'd have to say, no, that's the reflection of my phone. Well, this completely does away with that. You don't get the phone reflection in there. There's backgrounds for the picture. I mean, it really is a very professional setup for the amount that they're charging. So yeah, we tested it. I like it. It makes the pictures look significantly better, and that's going to lead to you getting more money on your auctions. So to me, it's a no-brainer. And to be able to bring you guys a discount code, that's what we're talking about, right? That's what we're trying to do.
Guys use Mercari, and I urge you guys too for raw cards. You need to think of yourselves as a business and as a storefront. And if you go in a storefront and everything is disorganized, you inherently don't trust that store. Same thing goes with photos. If every photo has the exact same backdrop, there's a trust factor involved, and it's really important, and there's more consistency. That's what I suggest. Have a studio set up, have a uniform way of taking and presenting your pictures, and your sales will start pouring in. And I've seen it myself when selling on Mercari, and I think it will work for you. gemmintphotography.com with code LucaNation10. DM us if you have any questions. We're always available to respond. Bye, Luca Nation.
Yeah, are we finished? You want to say goodbye? Go away. We got one more I want to give him, right? I love that. I love the. You want to end with the thing? Oh, Ian's saying hello.
Ian.
Listen, Before, I showed that on the line. Before we say goodbye, right? That's the Lux Auto. Before we say goodbye, just one more thing I want to point out to you guys. If you're thinking about investing in Joe Burrow cards, right?
Oh, Joey Burrow, you saved the best for last.
I was impressed by his performance today because he put his team in a position to win. He had a great rushing touchdown. The team wound up losing by a field goal, but not on him. So he put his team in a position to win with basically no time left on the clock. He had a shot for the end zone. He actually threw a game-winning touchdown pass to AJ Green, and Green kind of pushed off a little bit, but it was a ticky-tack call, and the refs called offensive pass interference. And they basically went to go kick a field goal, which would have put it in overtime. It was a 30-something yarder. It's a kick that the kicker probably makes 99 out of 100 times, but he missed it. He missed it wide right. I think he hurt himself while he was kicking it, and it goes down as the Bengals losing. But it's a game they probably should have won. They at least should have tied and gotten a shot in overtime. And he played a relatively efficient game. I mean, he wasn't going crazy. The poor kid, it's probably been 2 years since he's lost a game. So you saw him on the sidelines after that kick, didn't go through for him. And he was like, wow, this is what losing feels like. So he definitely looked composed for his first game in the NFL. It was good to watch, and he really did. He looked like he was going to give his team a shot to win it. It looked like he actually won it there at the end. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But there's nothing in his performance that I would say, okay, don't invest in Joe Burrow. So didn't need to. I should have snuck that in there before we gave our Luca Nation 10 on Gem Mint. But listen, we're 100%. 100%. We want to bring you picks. We want to give you kind of like a recap. And let me, you're ending. Let me give an actual play here, because people are like, listen. So here's a play. 2016 Bowman Chrome. Not because he has the same first name as my son, but my pick today is 2016 Bowman Chrome Draft. Ian Anderson. That's the kid's name.
Wow.
Bowman Chrome Draft.
Is he an MBA student for Yale University?
Sounds like it, right? So on eBay right now, you can buy the cards in quantity for $8 or less. This is the first Bowman card. There's a lot of $10, $50 or best offer. This kid, he has made 4 starts for the Atlanta Braves, and in 2 of those starts, he's given up 1 hit in 2 starts, which I think that's the first time someone's done that in 120 years. So the Braves have a weird, uncanny way of doing this, the ability of finding these pitchers who become, these stud prospects. He's a guy that no one's heard of. He's a guy that, what I'm telling you, a lot of people haven't found it yet. He's got his 2016 Bowman Chrome Draft. You'll see it. You can pick it up for a couple bucks. Like I said, there's a lot of 10 available, $50 or best offer. So it's a card you can get for under $5. If he continues doing anywhere near what he's done, for the last couple starts, he looks like an ace in the making, which the Braves just, like I said, they seem to have a way of doing that. And he's been, look him up, Ian Anderson, 2016 Bowman Chrome Draft. Not the paper one, guys. Go for the Chrome. And there's a quick pick if you stayed with us till the end.
Love it. And guys, this is a Sunday night special edition. We're going to do this every week. A quick one-take recap. So apologize for, the pauses, the background noise. This isn't going to be the most produced content, but it's real and it's organic and it's legit. It's 100% us. Love you, Luca.
Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.